Hey there, I am sitting in my beautiful little writing studio, which is basically an 8 by 12 shed that we pre-purchased and finished and put in our backyard. And it's been a great service to me. It didn't exist at the beginning of 2025, but this writing project kept speaking to me and coming through me despite my fears, my self-doubts, my judgments. No one's going to want this. What is this about? I'm not good at this. And I ended up spending the entire year, full-time 2025, the whole year, writing this thing that has become a book. And I have a wonderful publisher, New Society Publishers out in BC, Canada. And the manuscript has finally left my inner world. So I feel like I can talk about it because it's been such an inward journey and an inward process. And I wanted to share with you that it's a thing. It's an entity in the world, and it'll be out later this year in 2026. And the process itself was delicious. I found I really love the down and in and deep, meditative, creative, the world goes away kind of writing process. That was so great for me. And it required of me a lot of spaciousness, which changed me. The book changed me in so many ways. And the book is called Dying Together, The Art of Community Death Care. And it's village-inspired stories about belonging at the end of life. So the village that I'm referring to in the book is Earth Haven Eco Village, which is a permaculture-based, land-based, place-based project that's been happening since 1994, and it's in western North Carolina, about an hour southeast of Asheville. And it's about 150 people in this whole valley who are living together trying to create some kind of bioregional sanity and figure out how to take responsibility for their lives, their food, their power, their governance. And it's a really beautiful and ambitious project. earthhaven.org is the website. And there were 2 years, 2016 to 2018, where 6 of our beloved community members died. And several of them died at home in the village, others died elsewhere, but in all cases we had home vigils, home funerals, and home burials, and it really changed the course of our lives. There's been more deaths since that time, but those were what I call the death years, where we really learned to midwife our own beloveds at death. And the reason it changed the course of our lives is because none of us, even though we lived together, worked together, ran projects together, did all kinds of things together, had never felt the kind of coherence, cohesion, unity, consciousness that we had during those times. There's something about the portal of death that really brought us together despite our differences, our challenges, our conflicts, which in community there's many. And it really was a signal to me about how we can use death to come back together to build community, and also how when death is medicalized and people are isolated and disconnected during that process of dying, it takes the sacredness out of this rite of passage that is meant to belong to us, that is our birthright, to be sent off lovingly and held in the arms of our community. So the book has got many stories, and it's got exercises and prompts for your own exploration, and it's got just a heartful look at how do we want to reclaim the village, right? And village in this context is a practice, not necessarily a place. Even though these deaths did take place in one spot, there's many ways we are reinvigorating, reimagining, and reclaiming village all over the world. And really intact, healthy, grounded community embraces and leans into death, and it makes us closer. It makes us more intimate with life. It brings up our aliveness and our gratitude more fully. I really want community-based death care for everyone, because it's not if death is going to come, it's when. And community holds us, right? When we are in community in the context of death, the anguish, the grief is spread across the many. And we are biologically and cosmologically, psychologically designed to not shoulder these things by ourselves. And so community, when it holds us, that connection heals us. It allows us to step into the hard parts of life, including death and dying, with a frame of reference that has it all make much more sense. And when we do this together, we are enlivened beyond what we could ever do on our own. And preparing for death on our own, in our own individual way, and bringing the people we love into the process and inviting people also to prepare for dying and death are really great stepping stones and ingredients for how to build more community around death and learn how to talk about it, move away from death phobia. Disenfranchisement of the systems doesn't really lead to what we actually want. We need to actually get death literate. We need to actually get proximate to death, to our own deaths, to have a daily death practice. There's lots of exercises in the book that help us create or forge an intimacy with death that brings more meaning to our lives and helps us build community where we can belong in life and in death. And really my core motivation is about how do we belong to each other? How do we build community? And my experience of tending the dying in a village context was that there's never been any greater sense of belonging in my life and many of the people who were there in those moments as well. And that death can be an incredible teacher and a gift, but also one of our core tools for revillaging our world. And the book is now available for pre-sale, which is great for authors because it lets the publisher and the book world know, like, hey, there's interest in this. So there's a link to pre-purchase, and I will be sending out regular, maybe monthly videos and excerpts and tidbits to let you in more on my process. I'm really excited to share the sort of heart and soul of this work, which is super meaningful to me. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being interested. Just being on my email list or a subscriber to my Substack just means that you're in this inquiry of the life-death-life process that is not your normal, everyday, average person's worldview. And, being excited about a new book on death, is very fringe. And I'm super grateful because these are the deep waters that I love to swim in and contemplate, right? And the mystery school of life and mortality and impermanence and death as these incredible gifts that have been given to us so that we can contemplate the almost impossible miracle of our existence. So thank you for being with me. I'm excited to finally come out about the existence of this book. I've mentioned it a couple of times in passing, but this is my offering to just share my heart around wanting to build community with you, with all of us, and this being one path to do it. Thanks again.